Hey guys, welcome back to Super Platinum Achievement. Today we're going to give you our thoughts on game remasters.
Yeah.
That's been a hot topic as of late. As most people know, the new Tony Hawk 1+2 game was announced. Which I myself am excited for. I was very much into the first Tony Hawk Pro Skater games when I was growing up.
Absolutely, yeah. Those are
the first
definitely
one.
big part of my childhood.
Yeah, the second one was actually the first game I played on the original PlayStation. And the first one I actually played after I played the second one.
Oh.
So I was late to the game on that. But a lot of people have mixed feelings about this, or they're really, against remasters, or they're really for remasters. So we just kind of wanted to give you our opinions on it. We haven't talked about this before, so honestly, we don't know each other's opinions until now. So, Austin, tell me, what do you think about game remasters, and give some examples.
So, lately, there's been a lot of remasters, and I know that's kind of why the controversy and the topics have come up. Personally, I think the remasters are great.
I like it a lot.
If they're done well. I think that's the biggest thing is, you can remaster a game, but if it's not, a good remaster, people aren't going to like it. But, I mean, we look back at some of the biggest remasters from the last couple of years. Crash Bandicoot Insane Collection was really good, done really well. Spyro, done really well. Back to Crash Bandicoot, the Crash Team Racing, done really well. Obviously, the biggest, most successful remasters recently were the Resident Evil 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I think are considered, some of the best games to come out in the last couple of years. The fact that they're remasters is a pretty big deal, and I think now is a good time for remasters because we're approaching, the weird phase where one generation of consoles is ending and a new one's starting. So, we're not getting the games released right now on the, the console that's going out the door, and they're working towards new games on the new console. So it's kind of a good, honestly, the best time to do these remasters. Like, hey, here's a game that, didn't take too much to redo, and, maybe you didn't play it years ago on the previous console, and now here it is, or, it's 20 years old, like the case for Resident Evil. So I think now is the best time for them to be coming out, and it keeps people playing something when not much is coming out in the market. So
Yeah, and honestly, it's a good time for it to come out as well, because the next generation of consoles, the Xbox and the PlayStation 5, have announced they will be backwards compatible with the previous generation. So even if they're making these remasters now, some people might say, well, why make them at the end of a life of a console? Well, somebody can still take that remaster and pop it into their Xbox One or the PS5 and, enjoy this older game still.
yeah, so
Not lose anything. I agree with you on a lot of them. On a lot of your points, I'd say probably all of them. I love remasters.
I love you.
Personally, the remaster of the Nathan Drake collection,
yeah, absolutely,
is what got me into Uncharted. I didn't own a PlayStation 3 until the very end of its life.
You what?
So I had it maybe 2 years tops before the PlayStation 4 came out. So that's not a lot of time to get all those games in that library played. And I got a lot of them played, and mostly I played ones online with people. That's why I got it, was to play Call of Duty online with people and stuff like that. But I didn't get to play, the Uncharted games, which are amazing. And then when it came out as a remaster for PS4, I jumped on board and I played all three of the Nathan Drake collection within probably a month.
yeah.
And fell in love with that series. And it's now probably my second favorite franchise of all time. So remasters are, I think, incredible, and a lot of people say that they're a waste of the developer's time. Like, why are they doing these remasters and just trying to get more money out of us when they could be giving us new content, new games? Well, obviously, yes, developers are in it for the money. They're not just in it to have fun. And
it is a job for them.
It's a job.
They
It's
need
a
to make
living.
money. Yeah.
And obviously they do it because they enjoy it, but they're not going to just release things and not care about their income. And these remasters are a great way to fill in the gaps of these games. Certain developers or systems will have big gaps in first-party releases, and these are a great way to fill in those voids. And most of the time, they will have completely separate, dedicated teams to these remasters, while the other team is
or it's going to be a complete different studio on its own. They after permission for the rights to these games, the studio will grant them permission, or the developers will grant them permission. They'll go work on it and report back. Obviously, it's all tightly woven and stuff, but it's most of the time it's not even the main studio doing these remakes or remasters.
Yeah.
We keep saying remaster, but some of these games are remakes as well. So
yeah, like the Zelda remakes for 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
Those were not done by Nintendo. They hired another company to do those, and obviously they had some input on everything. It was because this studio wasn't doing anything at the time, and it's great for them to work on a huge title like this, and it's a great void filler for companies such as Nintendo.
Yeah.
Remasters that you think should happen that haven't happened.
Oh, that should happen that haven't happened. Oh, I haven't really. So I think Jack and Daxter is a series. So I know we're like floating on Naughty Dog still with Uncharted, but I think the Jack and Daxter series, mainly I believe was just PlayStation 2 generation. I think that's one that's worthy of a remaster or a remake. I mean, they were very solid games. I mean, Naughty Dog I don't think's really ever made a bad game. I mean, we go back to Crash Bandicoot. That's Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
So I think that's a series that I would like to see brought into the now. Something like that. Maybe, we can see an Elder Scrolls Oblivion or Morrowind actually get a full remaster. I know we've seen stuff online of people building games like that themselves, but I'd like to see a dedicated studio maybe bring in these older RPGs into, present day. I mean, that's the whole point of these remakes and remasters, is to bring these stories to a generation that's never seen it before. It's not like it's a bad story because it's made 20 years ago. It's something that everyone needs to experience, especially if you're a big fan of video games. I think if it's worthy of being remade or remastered, why not?
Yeah, and people will play it and people will enjoy it. If it was a great game, I mean, I'll play it again and again and again. And to me, a great game that gets a remaster just puts more life into it.
Yeah.
And I enjoy playing it even more.
And yeah, especially when they remake the game or remaster the game and they add new content or new stuff to it,
or just make it look better.
Yeah,
even.
looking better.
It's like,
even
hey,
yeah,
this is easier on my eyes now.
Yeah. Oh, is that a triangle there? I don't know. So I mean, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the original Metal Gear Solid. The one, I guess, that's a weird convoluted story, but like Metal Gear Solid for PlayStation 1 that came out. The first one for Solid Snake, I should say. I like to see that as a remaster because that was one of the greatest video games of its generation. It came out in '97 on the PlayStation 1 and blew people away then. I think if it's done properly, it would be an amazing game now. Don't think that will happen, unfortunately, because there's a lot of issues with the rights and stuff with companies and people. But unfortunately, I think that'd be one I'd love to see, and even bring up number 2 and number 3 into the modern time, because those were all just fantastic, great games with great stories and just.
Yeah, I'd love to see that as well. It was Konami that made those. I don't.
Konami, Kojima, but they had that.
They
They broke up,
that.
unfortunately. So I don't think we'd ever see that again.
Yeah, unless somehow they shook hands and made up, which I don't see happening.
I don't. Unfortunately, I don't see it happening.
There's probably some legal thing that could get in there and make it happen, but there'd be a lot of hurdles to get over, I think. But that would be definitely one I would love to see.
Yeah.
I never finished that game as a kid. I was, there was PlayStation owners and Nintendo 64 owners back then. I had the Nintendo 64,
Yeah.
so
This is before Xbox ever was a thing.
Yeah.
Several years before Xbox. So.
Yeah, and Sega was dead by then. So, well, sort of.
And then
the Sega Saturn or the Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah, the
was,
Dreamcast,
the Saturn were in between there.
And actually, speaking of Xbox, so like I've said in a previous video of ours, I grew up playing Sony consoles. I was PlayStation all the way, so I never owned an Xbox, never have owned an Xbox. And I've missed a pretty good series. I don't know if you guys heard it. It's called Halo. Yeah. So they remastered Halo, the Master Chief Collection, and now I have the ability on my computer to play this game. And when I've never had the opportunity to play Halo, and that for me that's something really special because I don't think I ever would have really ever played Halo besides friends coming over and bringing a 360 and doing just a multiplayer, but I've never done Halo campaigns and stuff. And I have now the Master Chief Collection, and I'm really looking forward to playing that and kind of reliving what people my age when they were 10 years, 15 years younger, what they experienced back then. So
Yeah, that's a huge one for a lot of people. One that I would like to see done, well, a few I'd like to see done, would be, did you ever play Legend of Dragoon?
No, I've heard about it.
So-
I know what it is.
I never finished the whole game. I played a little bit with my buddy, and it's just a fun looking game. And I think bringing that to the new generation that is now, for the first time, being introduced to Final Fantasy VII.
Another great remake, by the way.
Yeah, the Xenoblade Chronicles games are very similar to that as well. Bringing that JRPG style into the now's the time to do that, and I would love to see that game, happen in this current generation. That, and like I mentioned, Xenoblade, the old, Xenogears, the Xenosaga. I'd love to see those get a little bit of a collection as well. And then another one for me that was sort of remastered, but they did it too soon, in my opinion. And I've been trying to play through them, but it's difficult for me because it's last gen, and technically it's 2 generations ago, is the first 3 God of War games.
Yes.
I've tried playing through the first one so many times, and, God doesn't want me to finish that game. Something always happens to ruin it. Whether it be my system go out, the disc gets scratched, and I have not been able to.
That's actually the same issue I had with God of War 1 and 2. Our discs just stopped working.
Yeah.
So maybe it was a generation thing back on the PlayStation 2.
This was PlayStation 3 when I first started, which is the HD trilogy or whatever they called it.
I know they've since released God of War 3 to the PlayStation 4 right before the new God of War came out, to kind of get people hyped for that, but. Yeah, I would like to see...
missing 2 of them there.
Yeah, I'd like to see, actually, honestly, a full remake of those games would be really cool in the current technology, like what we saw in God of War, the most recent 2018 release. If you could see that, that'd be mind-blowing. Because those games, even back then, the set pieces and art and just the backgrounds were just beautiful. And, who doesn't love ancient Greece? Come on.
Yeah, that's one impressive thing about the original God of War for its time. The backgrounds and the detail they put into the game.
You could tell they put a lot of work into that. And, Sony Santa Monica since has done nothing but phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of our thoughts on remasters. Obviously, we are in agreement here.
Yeah, so we did say a lot of positive things. I can see where people come into the negative. Skyrim's been re-released almost every year since it came out.
People keep buying it.
We got original Skyrim, then the Legendary Edition and the upgraded edition, the Switch version. Soon we'll be playing it on microwaves. So
and they legitimately released it on Alexa. It was more of a joke,
but it's a thing. So that technically counts as a.
Dwayne Johnson and the You're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alec. What is their name? But it came out on that,
and I think I think I can see the bad side of it is people got tired of Skyrim being out re-released, considering people are still have the original game and extend the life with mods, which end up being better than what the actual developer re-releases.
Right.
Kind of stuff like that. So I can see where people get wrong. I don't mind it personally. I've now bought Skyrim. I think 3 times. So it's a great game. I don't care. I will play it as much as I want to, and I played it a lot, and I will probably continue to play it. So
until they just stop. That's me with Ocarina of Time. Every time they release a new version of Ocarina of Time, even if it's nothing new about it, and they're just like, here it is again on a different system, I buy it and I play it again because it is the greatest game of all time, in my opinion. I know a lot of people love that game as well. That's one game I can enjoy over and over and over again, and I love it coming to new systems. So I can't wait for it to come to the Switch. That's the next one it needs to come to. Tell us what you think about remasters. Comment below. Do you like them? Do you dislike them?
Are there any remasters are you looking forward to coming up maybe soon? Or
what do you want remastered, and what is your favorite remaster? Let us know. And look forward to our next videos, and we hope to see you soon.